Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffle channel. My name is Niall and today we are going to be taking a look at an absolute monster of a unit, the Musical Fidelity Nu Vista 800.2 integrated amplifier. It's an absolute beast. But before we get stuck into it, I do want to say again a massive thank you for the support on the channel. I mean, I feel like I say this every week, but last week in particular, you guys absolutely hit it out the park on the ATC SCM40 Pro D20R video. There was loads of comments, loads of new subscribers, loads of likes on the video. Again, if you could do that again for this one, if you do enjoy it, that'd be hugely appreciated. And again, if there's anything you particularly would like to see uploaded on the channel in terms of different pieces of kit, make sure to leave that down below and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, just a massive thank you again for all the support. It's quite a funny one, to be honest with you, because the Nu Vista 800.2 has been a unit that's been used in a few of the videos recently, and a lot of people have been commenting, asking for a bit of an overview on it, because I think it's because of the sheer size of it when it comes to its physicality and its dimensions. You kind of can't help but notice it, even when the video is focusing on other items. So yeah, I mean, more than happy to oblige. It was always the plan to do a video on this anyway, but I just thought it was funny that it caught so many people's eye just because it's hard for it not to be the centre of attention almost. So a couple of the basic bits first. The Nu Vista 800.2 is a Class AB hybrid integrated amplifier currently on the market for £10,999, so as good as £11,000 really. It weighs in at 41 kilograms, so again, an absolute beast. Very difficult to move, take it from me. And when it comes to the dimensions, you're going to need to make sure you've got a good space for it as well, because this thing is coming in at 483 by 187 by 510. So this thing again is an absolute behemoth of an amplifier. It's actually really interesting how the 800.2 came to be, because you might think to yourself, 800.2, bit of an unusual name, and that is true, but the reason for that is there used to be the Nu Vista 800, which I believe launched back in 2015, but when COVID hit, I think this is part of the reason at least anyway, when COVID hit, a lot of the parts that were used in that particular model became obsolete and just weren't possible for Musical Fidelity to get hold of. So what they actually just decided to do was to take the opportunity to redefine the unit and upgrade it a little bit using some new components, which then actually gave birth to the 800.2 that we see today. So that's why it's the 800.2. It's kind of almost like an 800 Mark II, and it's a more redefined, upgraded version of the 800 that launched almost 10 years ago now. I think it's fair to say that when you first look at the 800.2, you might think, you know, £11,000, and it seems a bit of a no-frills unit, really. You've got your two large pots on the front, one for volume, one for mode, really straightforward. A couple of buttons to adjust the display, which allow you to show the VU meters if you so choose, which I think everyone is always a massive fan of. Everybody loves a VU meter. Obviously, we'd all prefer that it was an actual VU meter rather than a digitally displayed one, but still, a VU meter is a VU meter. But I've got to say, the greatest thing in terms of the aesthetics of this unit are the valves that are in the centre back tray, if you like, of the unit itself. So at the back, there's this little grille where you can actually see the valves from above. And when you first turn on the unit, they glow red. And then as it comes into its optimal performing temperature, they then glow blue. So you kind of see this really cool transition from them glowing red to orange to blue, which obviously adds nothing at all when it comes to performance, but my God, is it cool. So the great thing about this being a hybrid integrated amplifier is not only do you get the convenience and the connectivity that you'd expect from any high-end, high-quality integrated amplifier, you're also getting the warmth that the valves bring to the table, which is so difficult to replicate when using anything other than valves, really. On top of this, you've also got this thing putting out 330 watts into 8 ohms. I mean, I cannot think of a single speaker on the market right now that this couldn't get the most out of. Just to touch a bit more on the connectivity and convenience that this can bring to the table, I think it's fair to say that this is a unit that's designed to be built around. If you look at the rear of the unit, in terms of connectivity options, they're all very much analog. Things like balanced XLR, you've got a CD, a tuner input, fixed and variable line, a couple of auxiliary inputs as well. So if you are wanting to add something like a turntable into the mix, you're going to have to get a separate phono stage, or if you're wanting to perhaps stream, again, a separate streamer would be required for this. It's very much an analog unit that's designed to be built around, in my opinion. Given the 330 watts that this thing's putting out, this probably isn't too much of a surprise, but no matter what you throw at the 800.2, it absolutely maximizes performance. And the best way I can describe it is you'll get a set of speakers that have got a characteristic that you're fond of them for, or they're known for. So for example, ATC's incredible detail, or the warmth that a product brings to a listening experience. And what this seems to do is just elevate that characteristic and really show the speakers off and just put them on a pedestal. Just you feel like you're getting the absolute maximum out of the speakers. I mean, the speakers here that I've listened to a lot in my time, and I heard them in almost a different way than I ever had before with the Musical Fidelity. It was an incredible amplifier. I think when it comes to pinpointing the sound signature of an amplifier, it can sometimes be quite difficult because, to me, the speakers are the main contributing factor when it comes to the sound signature of the system that you're listening to. But it's got to be said, the job of defining that sound is a lot easier when the amplifier has got valves built into it, as the Musical Fidelity has. And the reason for that is they always bring this wonderful, rich, warm sound, and the Musical Fidelity is no exception to that. The 800.2 brought this wonderful, deep, well-defined bass, and I think because of the power behind it, it offers this level of control that also means that when you're listening at even really low volumes, the detail is absolutely outstanding. And that's the kind of thing that I mentioned before when it came to the ATC example that I gave. It just takes that to the whole new level. Separation was also absolutely outstanding, and the staging was phenomenal. I mean, when I was sat there listening to the ProAct K6s earlier today, in some of the music I was listening to, it was like you were there in the room. And yes, obviously some of that is down to the ProAct K6s, but I think all you can really ever ask of an amplifier is to try and be clean, show the speakers for what they are, and give the ultimate presentation possible. And I really do think that the 800.2 does a fantastic job of that. It is a phenomenal piece of kit. I think the best way I can sum the unit up really is it's a combination of everything good of the old hi-fi world, with that kind of warmth that the valves bring to the table, but then you're combining that with all the fantastic technology that you see in modern amplifiers to create one masterpiece of a behemoth of a unit. Again, with the power that it's putting out, I can't think of anything right now that this wouldn't get the most out of. And I'm not just saying you could plug something in and it'd work. It would get the most out of it. It is an absolute monster of a piece of kit, and that is the biggest compliment I can pay to it, because again, I don't think there's anything on the market right now that this couldn't handle. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the unit. If you have managed to get your hands on it, obviously we're talking some high-end kit here. Let me know your experiences in the comment section down below. We'd be fascinated to hear from you all. If you did enjoy the video, again, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it, and we'll catch you all in next week's video.